Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a tag video. This tag was created by Chic Geek here on YouTube, and it is the makeup shopping tags. So I have 10 questions that I'm answering for you guys today, all about makeup shopping, one of my personal favorite things to do. So if you guys are interested in my responses, then stay tuned. But first, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll consider doing so before you go. I post videos every single Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Without further ado, let's get into the video. I feel like I literally cannot wear camo if I'm filming on my bed because I feel like I'm like camouflaged into my bed. But for real, I feel like I am. Anyway, you guys, question number one is, where do you shop for makeup? And I would say primarily I buy my makeup from Sephora and Ulta. If what I'm purchasing is carried at both stores, like both Sephora and Ulta carry it, I do my best to try and purchase from Ulta just because the rewards program is so much better than Sephora's. But I do feel like Sephora carries a lot of like Sephora exclusive brands or brands that are exclusive to Sephora that I really like Fenty Beauty, a lot of skincare. I pick up a lot of my skincare from Sephora over Ulta. In fact, the only skincare I can think of that I've ever picked up at Ulta would be maybe some face masks. I get my like Too Cool for School egg cream sheet masks there. I picked up a couple of products from The Ordinary, but for the most part, I get my skincare at Sephora. And then, like I said, Sephora does have those exclusive brands that I do really enjoy. So I would say I probably spend the bulk of my money at Sephora, but primarily I shop for makeup at both Sephora and Ulta. Now I would say I also shop from ColourPop occasionally. I shop from Target occasionally. Oh, that's like really it the last year or so, just because I've been on a low buy. Those are really the heavy hitters. I think next year, as I reconsider what I want to do with my channel, and I'm not planning to do a low buy, I'm hoping to kind of dabble in indie brands a little bit more. I know that's something I did, I feel like, more in 2017. I picked up some from a couple of indie brands, not a lot by any means, but I really would like to try out more from more indie brands. Occasionally I will purchase from Beautylish too, but I think that covers it for where I shop for my makeup. Question number two is, what is your budget, high-end or drugstore prices? So I am on a low buy this year. If you are interested in my makeup rehab series, I will leave the playlist link down below for you guys. I've given myself a budget this year of $125 per month, which in my opinion is really reeling it in from years past. So even though it may not sound like a low buy to you, it's a low buy to me. I feel like I always have to give that disclaimer. So that is like my monthly budget right now. And I would say, as far as like drugstore and high end, typically I fall into like the high end-ish price point. I don't purchase a ton of luxury, but I do prefer like high end over like drugstore. I mean, there are certain things that I don't mind picking up from the drugstore. There are certain things that I do really like to try from the drugstore. Foundation I really love. I think the drugstore has some really great foundations. Concealer, I would definitely try drugstore concealers, or I'm open to trying drugstore concealers. I really like the Ulta Beauty concealer, which is only $9. But for the most part, when it comes to like bronzer, blush, highlighter, and especially eyeshadow palettes, I'm typically purchasing more high-end. I don't know. What do you guys, I'm curious to hear your guys' input to like all the questions. I can't think today. I would love to hear you guys' answers to these questions down below. But for me, I just feel like I prefer high-end to drugstore. But I'm not quite like up to like that luxury price point. Like occasionally I'll pick up a luxury item or two, like a Natasha Denona or a Charlotte Tilbury, but for the most part I feel like I'm high-end, not luxury. Some drugstore, but not too much drugstore. Question number three is, do you shop in-store or online? And I feel like in the past I was more of an online shopper, and now I browse online a ton, but I feel like I'm that person who needs that like instant gratification, so I do a lot more shopping in-store, which I kind of like, a part of me is like, why do you do that? Because you can get your Ebates if you do like shopping online. But I just like to go in store. I like to swatch. I like to feel things. I like to see things. It gets me in trouble to go in store. If I shopped online, I feel like I actually would purchase less than if I would go in store. I've mentioned this many times on my channel, but I feel like going into Ulta or going into Sephora is like going into Target. Like you go in for one thing or nothing at all really, and you come out and you're like, well, where'd all my money go? But I would say I definitely do more in-store purchasing than online. I'm curious again to hear your guys' response to this one, because I feel like there's so many people who just shop online now, but I still really like that in-store experience personally. Question number 4 is, do you go makeup shopping with other people? And my answer to this is 100% no. I feel like none of my friends are like super into makeup or anything, and occasionally, like if my sister and I go to lunch and we're by the mall, her and I will pop into Sephora or Ulta together. But I mean, it's been maybe a year since I've done that with her even, so 100% I do not go makeup shopping with other people unless my daughter is like with me for the day and not at daycare. Maybe it's a weekend day and she's with me and I really need something. Occasionally my daughter will go makeup shopping with me, or there's been those times that my husband needs like the Origin spot remover and I make him go into Sephora with me, and then I usually end up shopping and saying, oh, but honey, I really need this too. Or I'll convince him that he needs some other skincare item. I'm really excited because I've convinced him that the Youth to the People kombucha toner is like doing wonders for his skin, and there's an oil right now too that he has been using that I'm like, oh, perfect. If he loves it and thinks it's really doing great things for his skin, then like we're gonna have to keep repurchasing it, and I don't even have to feel guilty about that. Number 5 is, how do you talk yourself out of a purchase? Normally I don't, if we're being 100% honest, but one thing that I do is I'll like fill up my Sephora cart with like everything that I want, and then I'll pretend that I'm gonna make a purchase, or if I'm actually gonna make a purchase, then like I'll like really look at what's in my cart, and I'm usually able to like talk myself into the things that I only really need at that time. One thing that like really comes to my mind though is the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. So I had my heart set on this. I was gonna purchase this. There was no talking me out of this, like 100%. This was gonna be mine. And thank goodness my Sephora actually got it in store, because if it hadn't, I would have ordered this online. And I probably would have kept it because it is a beautiful palette. There's many beautiful shades. They swatch beautifully. But when I was in store, I was looking at the palette, looking at all 28 shades. I swatched the shades that were really interesting to me. And they also had the Natasha Denona Mini Gold palette right next to the Metropolis. And I swatched the like shimmery green shade in the gold palette, and I swatched it against all of the shimmery greens in the Metropolis palette, which was really what was pulling me to that palette. And I actually liked the gold shimmer from the Mini Gold palette better than the ones from the Metropolis. So then I started looking at all the other shades in the Metropolis, and I looked at the pretty pops of like vibrant shimmery blues, teals, etc. And I was like, okay, even though like these are beautiful, like how often are you really gonna wear this day to day? And then I started looking at all the neutrals, and I was like, you probably have shades like this in your collection, like you really probably don't need this. And I was able to talk myself out of it, and I'm not going to get that palette. So I think the best way for me to talk myself out of something is to really dive into like how much use are you going to get from this. There's too many eyeshadow palettes that I've purchased in the past that are super colorful that I don't use day to day because I work 5 days a week and I'm not wearing colorful eyeshadow to work. So when I actually stop to think about things like that, that's how I kind of talk myself personally out of products. Or I think about things like, okay, is this really going to work for my skin type? Do I have a million others of these in my collection? Like, do I really need this? I will try my very hardest to wait at least a week before making a purchase. I used to be really bad at this, but with my low buy, I've gotten a lot better at this. Waiting to make a purchase, and if I still want it or I'm still thinking about it a week later, then I'll consider more whether or not I really do want to purchase this. I also really try not to buy into the hype of like new releases. or like limited edition items, I really try and reel back on that, and that's really helped me this year with my low buy. Question number 6 is, what makeup product is your favorite to buy? And this is so tough for me. A year ago, I probably would have said eyeshadow palettes and not thought twice about it. But this year, I've loved bronzer, eyeshadow palettes, primer, and foundation. Those would be my 4 that I would be thinking about. And I think like if I'm thinking about like the most excited, I probably get the most excited for eyeshadow palettes, just because I feel like that's where you are left with a product that you can be most creative with. Like you have 14 shades in your eyeshadow palette and you can do all these different things, or you have 28 shades and whatever. With foundation, it's kind of like, okay, like it doesn't change from use to use really, unless like you're changing your primer, but it really doesn't change from use to use. Same thing with primer, same thing with bronzer. But I have really enjoyed trying and purchasing a lot of new foundations, primers, and bronzers this year, but I probably get the most excited about an eyeshadow palette if we're breaking it down by level of excitement, which we actually were not. We were talking about just your favorite to buy. Well, if we're talking about excitement, my favorite to buy would be eyeshadow palettes. Other than that, I think I have like one of my favorite products to buy is probably primer. And foundation and bronzer though. But for some reason, I've just been like super into primers this year. I don't know what it is. And I still don't know if I believe primers even make that much of a difference in your skin. I just feel like I like that like first step of knowing I'm prepping myself to look beautiful. My husband's calling. Oh boy, what's this gonna be about? Hello? Hello?
Hey.
Hey, what's up? What is your favorite one? What brand are you loyal to? So I would say I'm loyal to multiple brands. I think I was loyal to ABH. Like I was one of the people, like many, that used to get super, super excited about every release. The Norvina Volume 1, 2, and 3, just that $60 price point was a little bit much. Plus, again, that was one of those situations where it was like those palettes, while beautiful, were super, super colorful and just not something that I felt like I would be able to wear from a day-to-day basis. So it didn't make sense for me to purchase those. Still was really excited about the Jackie palette, the Carly Bible palette. I could see why people would be really excited about that, but for me personally, it was not something I feel like I needed to add to my collection. Purchased the ABH foundation. Really, really like that foundation. I would say overall I'm still fairly loyal to ABH. I still get excited to see what they're releasing, but I do think that they have been pumping the releases out like cray. What else? Becca is another brand that I would say this is another one that like I'm loyal to, but used to be a little bit more excited about. I used to really love all of their shimmering skin perfectors. Now I only own a few, but overall I still really like Becca as a brand. I just like their aesthetic. And I would say that I'm fairly loyal to Becca. There's still many products throughout their collection that I really like and enjoy. What else? One that is a little bit more recent, I would say, is Hourglass. And again, just because I'm loyal to the brand doesn't mean like I'm going to purchase every single thing or love every single thing, but I really, really like a lot of Hourglass products that I've tried. One product that I don't like so much is the Luminous Light Finishing Powder. It's just not a powder that is like, I just don't use finishing powders that often. Love their blushes, love their bronzers. I do really like their white primer. I forget what it's called, like the number 54 maybe. It's just not something I feel like I permanently need in my collection, but I like that primer. And I would say overall I'm fairly loyal to Hourglass, just in thinking about like favorite brands or brands that I get excited to see what they're releasing. And then are there any others? Oh, another brand, this is one that like I am super loyal to, I would say, is Joseph Colors. Pretty much love everything that I've tried from them. I love their 5-pan eyeshadow palettes. I like the collab palettes they've done. I own a liquid lipstick from them, lip gloss from them. Really love lip liner, which brings up another brand I feel like I'm fairly loyal to, Fenty Beauty. Pretty much love almost everything that I've tried. Get super excited about releases from them. So those would be a few brands that I feel like I am pretty loyal to. Number 8 is, what other things do you spend fun money on? So I would say my favorite other thing to spend fun money on would be just traveling or doing things like activities. Not even necessarily like traveling out of state, but just doing truly anything with the fam bam. We like to go up north. We like to just like do stuff spur of the moment too. Like my husband ended up getting a 4-day weekend, so we drove to Nashville, which for us is like 12 to 14 hours. This was this past summer. But just other like fun money things. Like I just like to do things. So I would say, what do they say? That spend your money on an experiences. I used to be super into clothes and fashion. I used to work at Express, so I feel like I was definitely more into buying clothes at that time. I still really do like clothes. I like to spend money on clothes. I really like leisure, athletic wear, etc. I do like to go to the gym. But I would say for my other fun money, I like to spend it on experiences and clothes, maybe accessories, kind of. Food, I really like to spend money on tacos, nachos, burgers, cheese curds, pizza. Food would be another one. Number 9 is, who influenced you to buy the most makeup? I would say I have 2. One would be Jaclyn Hill, and then the second, and this is like way more recent and probably has convinced me to buy way more even than Jaclyn Hill, would be Samantha March. Pretty much anything she says she likes, I just go buy, if I'm being honest. So those would be the 2 that I think have convinced or influenced my purchases the most. I actually just posted a video about faves from my faves. So it's about favorite products in my collection that I was influenced to purchase from my favorite influencers. So if you guys are interested in that video, I'll leave that link down below for you guys. And then the last question is, what was your last purchase? And actually, just before sitting down to film this video, my daughter and I went to Ulta and I purchased some scrunchies and a new makeup sponge because my foundation was looking real interesting, and I had like washed my sponge like a million times, and I think it was just time to get rid of that sponge. So I purchased scrunchies, a makeup sponge, and then my daughter also got some ponytails. Fingers crossed she starts letting me wear a ponytail, or letting me give her ponytails. She starts wearing ponytails. She has like, I don't know, she hates ponytails, which just breaks my heart because I love ponytails. I think it's because my husband just like has always been like, oh, I don't like how like toddlers have like little ponytails on the top of their head, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that's my favorite look ever. And hello, your wife does that like literally every day. Like, I have a bun on top of my head, so are you saying like you don't like the way I look? Like, is this a personal attack here? Because it's feeling like one. Anyway, you guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's tag video. I hope you enjoyed. If you have a YouTube channel and Instagram or nothing at all, leave an answer, leave a link, do the tag video yourself. Would love to hear you guys' answers. Other than that, thank you so much for sticking around to watch today's video, and I'll catch you in tomorrow's. Bye.